Hi guys, welcome to Life Matters with Adedire. Today is super special, not because my guest is looking super beautiful today, but also because she's my last guest for the month, and this month has been really busy for her. Like she's been having engagements back to back, and I'm like, you know what? I will not let her do too much official talk. We're just going to have very lovely conversation today. Guys, put your hands together as I welcome Reni Odetoyinbo.
Woo! Thank you for
So you're
having
just joining
me.
us for the very first time. My name is Anu, and what I do here is Life Matters is all about people sharing their life experiences, but from a godly perspective, and also for us to learn. So we do this every Saturday, 2 p.m. MST. So if you are in Ontario or any other part of the world, that'll be 9 p.m. GMT, 10 p.m. Nigerian time, and 2 p.m. here in Edmonton. So today we're going to be talking about money literacy. We're going to be talking about how Reni started her journey, and so much more. So before we start, I always have one thing I always ask my guests before I start the show, and it is, if you were not speaking today, if you were not, let's not think about COVID for 1 minute, because
Yeah.
I know you love to travel.
Yes, I do.
We're not thinking of COVID, if we're not thinking of anything, what would be a normal Saturday routine for yourself?
Hmm. I like to chill and do nothing on Saturdays.
I
So
like that.
yeah, so I like to just chill and hang out. Honestly, like do literally do nothing on my Saturdays or see my friends or partner. So yeah, that's typically what I do.
Nice. And I wanted to ask, so for you, would you think that now we've been talking about COVID for the last one full year. Like if we look at this February, we still hear rumors of February last year,
I know.
February, and it's like a full year right now. What has been the greatest? Give us the good impact and give us the not so good impact it has done on you.
Yeah, I think one of the best things is that I started my YouTube channel during COVID. So I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel literally since I was a kid. Like I saw like Chloe and Halle singing on YouTube, and I was like, yes, that's me. I want to sing on YouTube. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it really took. I was always like, oh, I'm too busy. I won't have time to dedicate to it, etc., etc. But during this time, obviously, I had nothing but time, so that's when I started it. And yeah, I think that's been the best part of it. And also, it's during summer when we didn't have as many lockdown restrictions. I was able to see I was more intentional about seeing my friends, which was good because it's like I hadn't seen them for months, and I was like, now as in the summer, I have to see them as much as possible. So that was one. Those are two good things that came out of COVID, I guess. A bad thing, I don't know. Obviously, like the death that's happening is a very bad thing. It's really disheartening to see. Yeah, I'd say that would obviously be the worst thing. But for me personally, I'm just blessed that I'm able to be here. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I think that it's important for people to sometimes just reflect on the little things and the things that they were able to do and the things that were able to impact their lives. I think it's just very important. So today we're talking about, let me just put the topic on display so that people can understand why we are having this conversation. So I know that for a lot of us growing up for some of us that grew up in Nigeria, what we've known about money is save. That auntie gives you money, you save it, but
So your
even though
mom
your parents be
says
like, "Don't worry, I'll help you keep it," and
this.
mom, give me my account statement right now.
Mhm.
And also like you look at situations where you have people that they probably just inherited like good money from their parents and they didn't know how to use it and all that. And when I came to this part of the world, right, for me that saving culture was it's really stuck to me. But now I was facing new things like credit, like
Yeah.
investment, and like I understood investments, but I didn't understand it from this perspective. So being at when I watch some of your videos, I'm like, wow, like I wish I knew this at 22. Do you get? And not because of anything, it's just because now we're seeing what they call it. We're seeing how do I put it? We're seeing people now open up more about finances, right? And
Mhm.
we're seeing people be very transparent about how they've been dealing with money and stuff like that. So my first question will be like, let's go back to the very beginning. What was growing up like when it came to your parents talking about money with you, and how did that impact you right now?
Yeah, so I was very blessed to have parents who were financially literate. So I would say from the age of 4, which is when I came to Canada, I have been learning about money ever since then, which is a really, really, really early start. I don't know if you really comprehend, like fully understand when you're 4 years old, right? But it was a good thing that they started teaching me since that very young age. So growing up, just as you said, aunties and uncles would give us money and be like, hey, here's some money for you, blah, blah, blah. And instead of my parents doing the thing where they're like, oh, let me hold it for you, let me hold it for you, they would say, okay, you're going to put it in your bank account. 50% of it is going to go into your bank account. And I was always like, I don't know, like I didn't understand at that time, but I just knew that every single time I got something, half of it had to go into my bank account and half of it could be for whatever I wanted to do with it. And then they started giving me allowances as well. So throughout I know Nigerian parents, a lot of them don't give allowances. They're like, I already clothe and feed you. Why do you need to get paid to do your chores, right? But I think it really teaches people responsibility. So it taught me a lot of responsibility, because I knew if I didn't do my chores if I didn't help out around the house, I was not getting my allowance. So it wasn't much, maybe like $20 or a month or something. So it wasn't much, but it still helped me develop that skill and the responsibility. And then when I got to the age of, I don't know, maybe like when I turned 16, they started teaching me about credit. Even though you can't get a credit card at that age, they started teaching me about credit, because they knew once I turned 18, people would start pushing credit cards at me because I'm legal, right? And then just so I knew how to react once they actually started giving me those credit cards. And then, and then once I turned 18, I started investing. And since then, it's been a smooth sailing ride.
That's amazing. And I would say big ups to your parents for doing that. And the reason why I started from this, because I see a lot of ways that we growing up now, the impact of how our parents treated us, or how our parents helped us along the way. Like right now for me, when I look, I was having a conversation with a couple of my sisters that we talk almost every week, and we just like stick together, and we just have different life discussions. And today we're talking about how generally African parents are always like in your neck, in your face about a lot of things. You get like, oh, even now I'm married with a kid. My mom will be like, are you keeping her warm? I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm a parent.
Yeah.
Like, I know you as you see me like that, I know, but I'm a parent now. So like there's some decisions that but we laugh about it. But the truth is your parents did things a little bit different. They wanted you to understand that this is decisions you have to make sure that you have a very impactful future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going into that, your parents taught you, oh, okay, keep 50% in your bank account, learn this, learn that. How did you transition into wanting to teach other people about money? How did that? Is it something that you just said, you know what, COVID wants me to teach this, or it's always been something that you've always loved to do ever since?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's something I've always loved to do, but with my friends one-on-one, they would tell me stuff like, oh yeah, did you guys know that you only have to pay the minimum balance on your credit card? And I was like, huh? No, that's not how it works. Or or they would tell me things that they were doing, like, oh, I've been working for 2 years and I have no money saved. Like, I can't save money. And I'm like, guys, I guess I thought the way I grew up was normal. Like, I thought everyone's parents taught them about financial literacy. So I was always like, no, that's not the way you should do it. This is actually the way you should do it. And then I would teach them that way. So it was very, very informal before COVID. And then I feel like I just wanted to be more of service to people, and always like giving more than I'm taking. So that's really why I started to teach people. And I would say that I started, I realized that when I would search things about money, so if I would search how to use a credit card, or how to use this, or how to use that, all that would come up was white men. It was like always, always, always white men. There were no women. There were no women of color, or people of color in general. So I felt like, okay, I have like a niche. I can talk to other black people basically and have them see themselves in me, because oftentimes if you research something and you don't see yourself in that, you may be like, okay, maybe this place isn't for me. So I'm a big believer in like representation really matters. So yeah, I really just wanted to show people that no, you are black and you need to create, you can create generational wealth if you want to, and here's how you can do it.
You know, the funny thing is, my first guest of the month, we're talking about money mistakes new immigrants make. And one of the things that my guest, because she's also in the financial sector, she works at a bank, and she also said that one of the things she's noticed is because we don't talk about it in our community, we're easy targets for them to push in this different. Like she said, there was one time, and let me give this example just because she has given it. She said this people, they were new immigrants, they came into the country, and she was really excited because at least as an African in the bank, she would be able to let you know that, oh, this, that. She'll be able to give you the best deals and stuff like that. And she said when they got there, they already pre-programmed their minds to what their family friends already told them coming from Nigeria. So their family friends here in Canada said, oh, don't get this account, don't get credit card, don't get this, don't get that. So she was trying to give them the best deal at that moment for new immigrants at that point. But they were like, no. Yeah. So when they now started seeing charges, bills from what the friend told them to use, they were like, they now came back to the bank like, oh, can we use that opportunity? She's like, oh, sorry, like it's too late. Right. So I think that what you said is really important. I think it's something that as a Black community, as Africans, we have to start talking about money and creating generational wealth. Yeah. So to go to my next question, it will be this. Now, starting young, a lot of people feel like I still have time. I'm 25. This money is blow money for this time, and we're still gonna go to you traveling, because I know that you love to travel. You always support Black businesses, so you're gonna give us how you still spend smart with trying to do that. So let's first talk about our community trying to do better at a young age. So most people came into the country in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, and they already have the habits they're already used to. So the question now is, how do I teach my kids how to start young? And if I'm older, how do I retrace my steps to start making better decisions when it comes to money?
Yeah. If you have a kid and if you're going to start teaching your kid, I think even before you can teach your kid, you probably have to learn yourself. So that's the first step. I actually have a video with my dad on how he basically taught me. So there are lots of tips there. But simple things like, as my dad did, teaching me about credit before I get a credit card. But obviously you have to learn about credit before that can happen, because you can't teach anyone if you don't know. Or simple things like giving them an allowance, and it teaches them responsibility. Teaching them delayed gratification. So teaching them that, okay, just because you have something, there's an opportunity right now to buy Skittles at the gas station where it's double the price. You can say, okay, I'm going to hold off on this for now, and I'm going to go to Walmart and buy them there. It's literally half the price at Walmart. So things like that are simple things my parents taught me, and they actually really make a difference in the long term. If you are someone who is now, you're older already, and now you need to change your thinking, it is obviously a bit harder, but I think it's all about your mindset and if you want to create generational wealth. So you have to understand that you cannot save yourself into wealth. Like, there's no way you can save enough money to get rich. You have to start making your money work for you. So it's all about a mindset shift, and actually you taking the time and the effort to learn, because there's so many free resources out there, but it's all on you to actually put what you learn into effect. So yeah, those would be my tips for people who are looking to switch it up a bit.
And that's amazing. Like you said, if you don't even know, you won't give. Like, you cannot give what you don't have in the first place.
Exactly.
Like I said, this is a conversation. So guys, if you want to jump in or you want to send Reni just a couple of questions, the comment section is open. You can always send in your questions or your comments. So my next question is, you love to travel, you love to support Black businesses. How do we start spending smart? Because a lot of people will say that, oh, she's saying it because she's making 25,000 a month, or she's making one big money.
I receive it.
You get, like, a lot of people will have that kind of mindset that she's only doing all this because she's making this. How people switch from how do you do it? How do you manage to still enjoy that travel life, supporting Black businesses? I know you're also into skincare and stuff like that. How do you still manage to do that and still save? Because a lot of people will say that if I'm going to do all that, then why should I save? That this blow money at this moment.
Yeah. I think it's all about you budgeting. Like there are so many opportunities for you to spend things on the things that you like. So I would never say like deny yourself of the things you like in order to save money. Like no one wants to live life just like living on, oh, I can't spend any money, so let me just live in no, that's not how you should live life. I like to chop life just like everyone else does. And I think you should start budgeting out set a list of all your expenses and income of the month, and then allocate each dollar to where you think it will go. So if you are if you have like someone like me, I really like to travel. I put like $200 a month into an account for my travel fund, so that by the time I'm ready to travel, I don't have to dip into my savings, or I don't have to take out a credit card. I don't have to use my credit card. I literally have the money sitting there. So I would say it's all about how you budget the money that you have coming in. If you look at how much you spent over the past few months, you'll probably see that you've spent a lot more than you've saved, simply because you're not keeping track of it. So when you do start budgeting, you can see like, okay, this much has come in, and I can spend this much every month. And you can allocate each dollar to different places.
That's amazing. So do you look for, because I know that I have a friend that done what do you call it? So once a month I always do a YouTube video with a YouTuber and try to like I try to kind of like look at what they do and we talk about it. And I remember that I was talking to Yinka Odofin, and he's the kind of person that gives you tips and tricks on how to travel on a budget. So are you the kind of person that even though you're saving, you still try to travel on a budget, or you're like you don't mind?
It really depends. So when I was in university, I went on exchange to Thailand, and I was there for 5 months. And Thailand's really cheap anyways, but then my roommates wanted to travel on a budget. I did that once. Like, we stayed in a hostel. Never, ever, ever again will I stay in a hostel. So it's not for me. It's just not for me. I'm a very light sleeper. So sleeping somewhere where like there are people in the same room as you, it's not for me. So I would say like I'll look for cheap flights. That's one thing I will always look for, because regardless, we're on the same plane, so it doesn't matter. Like, I've been to Portugal for $400 round trip. So I look for the cheap flight, but when it comes to the place I'm living, staying, I'm not going to skimp out on that.
Yeah, you're not gonna mess with your sleep.
No, I cannot. So yeah,
I think I'm borderline. I think I'm borderline on when I don't think I can do hostel. I think even Airbnb. I remember, I think it was 2019, and my husband went to Montreal and we did this Airbnb. He liked it because of the rustic, nice. It had this artistic look. Reni, I felt like I was in the hunt house.
Oh my God.
It was cute, but it was so choked up, and it was just us. But for me, I'm like, never. Like, I would rather stay somewhere that has more space where I can do more stuff. So I think with Airbnbs now, you can skip on hotel fees, depending on how much you want to spend on an Airbnb. Though.
Yeah, I actually really like Airbnbs. I stay in Airbnbs quite a bit, but you have to pick the right one. Like, there's definitely levels to it. You know, you can stay in a huge villa, or you can stay in a tiny room in someone else's apartment. So yeah, I do like Airbnb, and I feel like they can be on the same price as hotels. They're not actually that much cheaper in the long grand scheme of things, but yeah.
That's very true. And depending on where you want to stay, like some people want to stay downtown, and downtown is very expensive either way in whatever part of the world. So let's talk about career path, because I know for a lot of people, either they came into the country young like you, or they've had their own careers before coming to Canada. And for some of them, they're like, or maybe whatever part of the world they are, and they're like, how can I make better career decisions? Because right now I'm stuck. And I want to start with the person that is just coming out of college. Let's start from that person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, guys, go to Reni's YouTube channel. You would get too many informative stuff. She's amazing like that. But I want us to start from the person just coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
The person studied a particular course and doesn't have any years of experience or anything, and they're trying to wiggle their way into how do I be confident in when going for like interviews. What do I need to put in place now that I don't have any experience and stuff like that? So I'll start from the person that just graduated from college. What will be your tips?
I feel like my tips may be the same for every person, but network, network, network. So I know it's hard to like find out what you actually want to do. I know when I graduated, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but you can find out by reaching out to different people and having coffee chats with them. Obviously, with COVID, it'll be a virtual coffee chat, but just having a quick coffee with them, learning 15 to 20 minutes about what they actually do and any opportunities they have in their business. It will let you see what you actually do like and what you don't like. Like if someone tells me, if I'm looking to enroll, be a business analyst, and then I meet with someone and they tell me like, this is what I do. I don't talk to people all day. It's a very admin job, Excel all day, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be like, this is not for me. And then I'm not going to go into that role. So that's one thing. And then when you do have these coffee chats, people start to think of you for opportunities. So if I go to a coffee chat and I'm like, I really am interested in digital marketing. I love digital marketing, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm looking for opportunities. Once they hear of another opportunity, they're going to be like, oh, Reni was looking for an opportunity. Let me tell Reni about this job that is open for her. And I know when people have coffee chats with me, when they tell me, I'm like, oh, I just heard of this job. Let me push it over to them and see if they want it. So that's happened many times and I've helped people get jobs like that. So I would say first thing, if you're a new grad, start networking. And even if before you graduate, start networking like as early as possible, because I've been networking since like 2014 when I got into university, and I haven't had to apply for a job since 2016 because I've just been networking and networking and networking since then. So
That's amazing. And I think that for some people that feel very introverted and they feel like, oh, I don't like talking to people. I think you have to not get out of your shell if you want to get those opportunities. So for someone that just got into the country, are there spaces like you said, it's gonna be almost the same thing for everyone. But I want to talk about it in the sense of, I saw a post where someone said, things you can do even if you don't have experience in a particular job. So let's say that this person has been in the banking industry for a while and they just want to get into IT, or let's say that they don't have the Canadian experience. Let's talk about the Canadian experience. And they don't have the Canadian experience. How do I still push my way into getting the jobs I want, even though I don't have that Canadian experience?
So again, networking can really help in this situation. But aside from networking, I would say getting certificate. I know it can be expensive, but honestly, getting a few certifications here can help people see that you are qualified. And a lot of time, when you do courses here, and they have like some project component, you can use that as Canadian experience on your resume. It's all about how you package it on your resume. So like I know a lot of people are doing business analyst course, and the courses that they take have a project component where they like do an actual project for a company. So now they put that on their resume, even if they have no other Canadian experience. That's at least something on their resume. And I've seen a lot of people graduate from those programs and get jobs through that. So that's one tip. And also just joining organizations. So if you are an accountant or if you want to get into tech, there is like the Black Professionals in Tech Network, and it's all across Canada. It's based in Toronto, but like you can join from across Canada. And that allows you to meet people across the country who are in the fields that you want to get into. They also have jobs. There are lots of job fairs that are tailored to new immigrants as well. I know like the Fresh Start podcast, he hosts lots of events in coordination with his podcast. So like join those events. They're looking to hire new immigrants because they know the biases that new immigrants face. So yeah, tap into those networks.
That's amazing. And I think that another thing that even after you write all those certifications, I would say that also research to see what you're supposed to do after, because there are a couple of certifications I've done and it was like a year after I found out that, oh, you're supposed to enroll in this, you're supposed to pay for this, right? So you will never know until I was just sitting down one day and I'm like, okay, I actually have this certification lying down. I'm like 6 months to the end of my mat leave. Like, let me start using this certification for something. And I said that, oh, you're supposed to enroll in this, you're supposed to do this. So I think sometimes even when you do those certifications, and I know that some of them are just online, try and chat up with people that you go to classes with. I think that was one mistake in code that I personally made, because actually it was online. That was my first online class ever. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do my work. You know how this mindset of I'm going to school, I face my business kind of thing. And I got to find out that I could have actually just even connected with people. I could have actually made friends, network with this person. So I think sometimes we just have to go out of our comfort zone to make sure that we're, how do I put it? We're meeting and getting new opportunities. And the reason why I had this topic as Start Young, Work Smart is because as a young person, and for most African ladies, there's that bias to don't blow your own trumpet. And I know that Dr. Olubamiji, I think that's Adiola, she's always against people that are against blowing their own trumpet, right? She always says, let people know what you do, who you are, what you stand for. It's very important. The African community has this fake humility style of trying to cover, Reni, what do you do? I don't do anything. You never know how you miss an opportunity. Do you get, like, you never know how you miss an opportunity. Now, I want to talk about it in respect of, you made your first purchase, and like we said, shout out to your parents for putting things straight for you. Now, for a lot of young ladies, they feel like, oh, I don't want people to feel like I'm gonna threaten the guy. Did you hear thoughts? Did those thoughts come to your mind, or did you have people ask you, like, you're buying a house at 23, which one will marry you? That kind of, I call it dumb statements, but that kind of statement. And how were you able to respond to people like that?
Yeah, I feel like the people in my circle would never, ever, ever come to me with that. Oh, are you here? I can't hear you anymore.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, now we're good.
Okay.
I was saying that I don't think I have a good circle, and I don't think anyone in my circle would come to me with that ever, ever, ever. But I would say, I'm sure lots of people thought it. It is what it is. I don't really care. I think I also grew up here, so it's very different than growing up in Nigeria. I'm used to blowing my own or tooting my own horn since since I was 4 years old. So yeah, it didn't really. I don't know, if a man doesn't want to be with me because I bought a house, probably not the man I should be with, you know? So, yeah.
And I think it's very important for ladies, whether you, like she said, create a great circle of people that will actually impact your life and not just let you downplay yourself. And I think it's also important to have a circle of people that will kind of push you to want to be better. I think a lot of people try to like downplay stuff just because they don't want their friends to feel intimidated. But I feel like if you're up there, pull your friends up. Like you said, the African community or the Black community, we're in that space where we don't get so much of these opportunities thrown in our face. So if we have brothers or sisters or friends that are in those top organizations or that's a representation. And don't just be the trumpeter of, oh, I'm the only Black person in that place. You know, I've heard that thing before where I'm like, why do you take so much pride in wanting to just say, I'm the only Black person in this organization?
I would never. I think it's a bad thing to be the only Black person in a situation. Like, I don't even want to work somewhere where I'm the only Black person. Yay. Like, no, that's not something to celebrate. And if you are, try to pull other people up along with you once you get there.
Now, I want to go into talking about investments. Now, I know that you're big on investments. Let money work for you. Don't work for money. Like, as much as possible, get a good job at the end of the day. And for those that are not following Reni, so her name is Reni, but just put EXO in front of that, and you would follow her on Instagram. So on Instagram, she has like a savings plan where she helps you if you want to save $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 for the entire year. She has plans like that you should follow, and they're pretty simple. And she's a good accountability partner, to be very sincere. So at the end of today's payday, guys, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm like, okay, is it actually because I make sure that I do mine separately, like try to do like my TFSC and RSP at the same time, and so everything comes out all the same day. So when you say that, I'm like, don't worry, it has gone out. In my head, I kind of just put that. But let's talk about investments and making money work for you. A lot of people would say, like someone like me before now, I'm the kind of person that I don't like taking risks at all. So to get out of that niche, I had to be with my husband. Loves taking risks. He'll be like, even when it comes to food, it's now that you will see me eat a bowl of salad joyfully. I would never. So the other night I was telling him, I'm like, do you know that I'm actually the one eating the salad? He's like, I'm proud of you. Like,
gross.
So imagine me when it comes to money, right? So for someone like me that doesn't like taking risks, I had to get out of my comfort zone and to start making those little investments. But try and educate someone that doesn't understand the basic investments here in Canada and how they can go into it and how they can start making their money work for them.
Mm-hmm. So I'll start off by saying that the biggest risk you can have actually is to put all of your eggs in one basket. That's the biggest risk of all. If you think about it, having a job and relying solely on that income from a job is very risky, because if, God forbid, you lost your job, or God forbid, you get in an accident, or got something that prevents you from working, you've lost all of your sources of income, which is very risky. I think a lot of people think that's a safe way to go, but it's the opposite. Of course, we should all have a job. Like, make sure you have a job, but you should also have other streams of income, which is where making your money work for you comes in. So if you get paid $1,000 a month, that whole $1,000 should not be going to your bills and your savings. It should also, a portion of it should also go to your investments. So in Canada, there's so many ways that you can invest here in Canada, but I would say the main ways are the stock market, the real estate market. There is Forex, which, I have some opinions on that. And then there's also, what else is the other one? There's also cryptocurrency. So those are a few of the ways that you can invest. I would say that the one that is not the safest, but the most easy to follow is investing in the stock market. So there are companies that are listed on the stock exchanges, whichever stock exchange it is. So say a company like Apple. Apple is listed on the stock exchange, and then I am able to buy a portion of Apple. So I can become an owner of Apple and put my money into Apple. So I'm not sure how expensive their shares are right now. I think it's around $200. But for $200, I become a part owner in Apple. I have voting rights. I can vote for their board or whatever. So that is, and the way you make money in investing is you put your money in, so say $200, and then that $200 rises to $250. Now I've made $50 off of that stock, and I can either sell it and keep that money, or I can keep letting it grow. So that's really the basics of investing, and that's what I do. That's how I purchased my house, because there's no way I could save $50,000 that I need to buy a house. There's no way for me to do that with all the expenses that I have, but I can instead make that $10,000 grow to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, which is what I did. So I would say I bought Shopify, which is a company here in Canada. I bought shares of Shopify way back, like 5 years ago or 5 years ago, and it was around $200 or $100 when I bought it. Now Shopify is $1,300 per stock, so it was a huge growth, and it paid for my house once I sold it. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, and I think that it's important from whatever, like you said, from whatever age your kids are right now. You should start teaching them how to make those decisions and start to make them start working smart and thinking and starting young, because I'm just imagining 5 years ago, one would never know that companies like Zoom, Shopify, like all of them will have so much value, like, because probably 3 years ago, they probably did not blow up how they did, right?
Exactly.
And right now, people can't do without Zoom or even, so I think that it's very important. Yeah, you want to say something?
I would say, even if you bought Zoom at the beginning of last year, so in March, once the pandemic hit, you would be up over 100% right now. Like it went wild. Obviously, we all are using Zoom now. So I would say, even if, like, the best time to get into the stock market is now. I think a lot of people think, oh, okay, I didn't get in 4 years ago, so what's the point of me starting? But no, like, right now is the best time. Yesterday was the best time, but if not yesterday, then today is the best time, you know?
And that's very important. So would you how will I call it? Would you tell someone to invest everything they have? Because some people will say that, okay, I want to invest, but now you're saying that, oh, I should just start small. So would you advise that, let's say that I've saved in the last 4 years, I've been saving, let's imagine $100 every month in my TFSA. And at the end of the year, I make this, I have this money that's outside my emergency funds, and this person probably right now has, let's say, $5,000. Would you advise that I kind of invest everything, or would you advise that I just take like a little bit of it? How would you tell me to, or how did you do it in your own experience? How did you start your investment portfolio?
Yeah, so in my own experience, I did not invest all of my money, because you need money to do other things. So I would say, like, do not invest money that you cannot afford to, like, that you need right now, or you need in like 2 to 3 months, or actually maybe in the next 6 months. Don't invest that money, okay? Like, let's be smart here, guys. With investing, there are always risks. Your money can go up or it can go down. So just be smart about the money that you're investing. But what I did was, I would put 50% of my paycheck into my investments every month. But that's a large amount, so obviously you don't have to. The average, I say, is around like 10 to 20% is what people should be putting into their investments every month. And yeah, that's what I did. So even when I was working at a shoe store and I was making $9 an hour, I was still putting 50% of that into investments every single month. And yeah, it pays.
Thank you for actually talking about working, because today we're talking about, like I said earlier, a couple of friends of mine were talking about how African parents teach, and when it comes to savings, investments, here you see people tell their kids by 18 you start going to find your place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Parents, thank God for them, we always have free accommodation to you want whatever you want to leave. For some African parents, and for some of them, they actually pay your school fees, so you don't have student debt, student loans, or whatnot. Now, how do we? So there's some things that are really good here, like making your kids work from a very young age and stuff like that. Were there other things your parents kind of inculcated in you that made you want to, like, be more hardworking or save money more, like the e.g. like having a job? At what age did you start working, and when you were getting your salary, what were the tips they gave you apart from investing and wanting to do some stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I started working at 16 or 15. I'm not sure which one. And it was just, what was I doing? I was working at a sports place and I was doing scorecards. I was making good money, in my opinion. I was making like $300 a weekend, which to me was like, whoa, that's so much money. But I think that, I don't know how my parents did it, to be honest. Like, I don't know why I wanted to work at that age, because my sister never worked at that age. So I'm not sure what was different about me. But yeah, I really just like to make my own money instead of asking people. I don't like asking for money. I don't like asking my parents for money. So even from the time I was 16, I was like, I need my own money. I need to be able to support myself, even though I'm living in their house. Obviously, I wanted to be independent in some way. So yeah.
So from what you learned, from the things you did as a person, what would you tell someone that is 12 right now?
About about money?
Yes, about money, and when it comes to at what point should they start working? What was it like? How would I call it? What was it like giving them money, or how would I put it? What was it like when, okay, so let's imagine that this 13-year-old wants to start work, right? And the person is saying, Reni, I'm 13. I've watched so many of your videos. I like what you're saying. So when I start work, what should I use the money for? Even if I'm making, let's say, I think the average minimum wage is about $15 an hour. So how do you say I should do it after I pay my tithes? What should I do? So like a rough breakdown for someone that's just very young and wants to start working young.
I would say this at this young age, this is the richest, not the richest you'll be, but like this is the least amount of bills that you will have at this young age that you are at. They only increase from then. So I would say try to save. If you're not at the age to invest, I would say try to save as much of your money as possible before you have to start paying bills, because I could have probably saved 80%, 90% of my paycheck, because what real bills did I have at that time? But once you get older, you'll have to start paying bills. So that's the problem, you know? But yeah, that's what I would say. Like start now, start early, start accumulating as much wealth as you can before you have real responsibilities that will take money out of your pocket, whether you like it or not.
And that's important. I think what you said, start accumulating so much wealth, start very young, and I think that's the, how will I put it, that's like the long and short of the conversation too, because I wanted to like, oh, let's talk about it, and I'm like, you know what, let's make it as simple as, I know that, like you said, for the older person it will be a bit difficult because they're already set on their ways.
Yeah.
And I know that the guests I had last week and 2 weeks ago already like focused on people that are older, and they talked about credit, they talked about things like that. But let's talk about a little bit about credit to the younger person. So I get my first credit card. What are the tips you would give me to making good decisions? Because I know people that are young and they're crazy credit card debt just because they felt it was blow money.
Yeah.
What would you even say starting off? What would you say they should start looking out for when getting credit cards?
Yes. The first thing you need to do is understand what a credit card is. Most people think that credit cards are free money that they can just spend however they want and blah, blah, blah. I assure you, there is no free money in this world. That is not free money. So the first thing, make sure you understand that a credit card is a loan to you. It's an interest-free loan for only 28 days or whatever your billing cycle is. But once that next day hits, they're charging you at 19.99% interest on average. Some are more, some are, I think most of them are 19.99%. And I need everyone to understand that there's no need for you to pay to pay that much money for anything. Like that's a ridiculous amount of money. So that means for every $1 that you spend, they're gonna charge you 19 cents, right? On top of each dollar. So that's gonna keep coming and come. It's a lot of money in the long term. So I would say do not spend what you cannot afford on your credit card. So the way I see my credit card is I see it as it's just a way for me to pay a bit later, but I'm still paying within that time period. So if I have something that's my credit card, say my credit card limit is $5,000. If I don't have $5,000 cash in my bank account, I'm not spending $5,000 on my credit card because I will have no way to pay it back, and then I'll be paying interest on it. So the first thing, as I said, make sure that you understand what a credit card is. Know that it is not free money. Know that you need to pay it off every single month. Do not pay just the minimum balance. Pay the whole balance off each month. And those are the main tips that I would give. And remember that your credit score in the Western world, your credit score is very important. It's not just some credit card that you get and it has no impact. It really impacts the way you'll be able to purchase a car. If you are able to purchase a car, it impacts if you're able to purchase a house. It can impact if you're able to get a job as well, because some industries run a credit check before they hire you. So there are so many things that you need to understand about credit cards, and yeah, just make sure you research before you get one. But they are good. They are good. I just want to say that the credit cards are a good way to build your credit history, but you just need to use them responsibly.
That's very important. And I remember that my guest last week was also saying that if you know what they call it, if you know that you are not going to, let's say, you can undo money well, I would say get the minimum 500. Like just I make sure that you're paying, and I personally shared things that I just learned. I like at that time I didn't even know that I didn't know that there was anything like credit card until I think 3 years after I'd stayed here for a while, and I'm like, oh, there's credit card, there's this. And one way someone taught me how to use a credit card is if you're gonna buy something worth $100, right? Already have the $100 in your account, and make sure that you purchase it with your credit card. You get home, you settle in, you transfer that $100 back into the credit card. Let's imagine that. So the person taught me that if you already have that mindset, little by little, you'll be able to know that, okay, if I use $200 from this $2,000 credit card limit, I have to already have the money, or I have to have it before the end of the week. So it's look at it as a personal loan, a loan that you have in your pocket and that you have to pay before the end of the week. I think that people have to start looking at it from that end, and instead of looking at it as is blow money. Now, let's talk about credit card when it comes to points, because I know that a lot of people would say that, oh, I'm making points, it's really good. Would you discourage people from getting like a point system kind of credit card? Or what would you say that for a young student that just got into the country or has been in the country for a while and wants to get their first credit card? What would be the best part? Because I would say run away from all those store credit cards, Walmart, whatever institution they are, whether they're big stores or small stores or whatnot. I would run away from all those credit cards. So what would you say would be the best one for a young person to get?
Good question. I don't know if there's a best. I would say your first card should be a free card, first of all. You shouldn't be paying any fees for your credit card. There are lots of beginner cards that will give you cash. My personal favorite is the cashback cards, because they literally they give you cash into your to pay off your credit card as well. So all the banks have a basic credit card that you can sign up for. Also, President's Choice has a good card that will help you buy groceries in the long term, which is good. So it depends on the point system. Like, I wouldn't say point systems are bad or anything, but some of the points don't actually mean much. So you want to buy one that the points actually will buy you something. Like, I know I have an Air Miles one. How many? You need so many Air Miles to actually. Yeah.
that one, I think it's just I don't want to call it a scam online, but
yeah, it's literally what's the point, you know?
I've been using it for years, and in my head I'm like, I'm not even at some point I checked, I wouldn't even go to 10,000 points. I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this thing. Like, I will not bother. I'd rather go to like fuel stations or gas or grocery stores that take the PC Optimum card, where I know that I get so much money for whatever points that I'm gonna like. It's the Emerald Zone is the worst.
Yeah, that PC Optimum card is really good. Like, it gives you lots of benefits. We buy groceries with it. Like, the whole groceries are covered by the points. So yeah, I would say look for ones that the points actually can redeem something, because especially with my Air Miles, I haven't redeemed anything. It's been a while. But with my cash back one, at least it gives me money back every single time, you know? But yeah, my tip would be do not pay for your credit. You don't need to pay for your credit card, especially if you're a beginner. You shouldn't be paying an annual fee for your credit card.
So I wanted to ask, can you give it just enlighten us a little bit on how the cashback one works? Because I know that a lot of people, I personally wanted to get the cashback one, and someone discouraged me from it. And I wanted to get what would you, can you just put a little light on how it works and how you're benefiting from it.
Yeah, so my cashback one, it's the one that I got when I was 18. So I'm sure they're probably better cashback ones. I just still have the credit card that I have, but whenever I purchase something, so say I purchase something of $100, they have a cashback rate that will give me money back into my account. So I think, I'm not sure, they can be like 1%, 0.5%, whatever the company decides to give you. So say it's a 1% cashback rate. If I buy something of $100, they're going to give me $1 back, which is good. It's like, at least they're giving you something instead of these fake points that don't do anything, you know? So I'm not sure why someone would dissuade you from that unless they thought like it's not enough money that they're going to give you in cash back. But yeah, I pay off my credit cards with the cash that they've given me back. You can only use it for your credit card. That's the only thing. You can't like take it out and use that cash, but it doesn't really matter. You put that money towards your credit card and then you pay off your debt.
Okay. So for those that have different type of credit card and they want to try out, or maybe you want to try it out for your young son or daughter or whatever it is, please make sure that and let's read the fine lines of all those contracts. I know a lot just sign just sign without reading the terms and conditions, but let's make sure that we sit down and do that.
Yeah, I was also going to say, if you do not trust yourself with a credit card, you can also get a secured credit card, which means that you are putting the money on the credit card. So the company is taking no risk with you. They're basically saying you put $500 into, you give BMO or TD or whatever bank $500, and then they will lock it. So everything you pay is against your own money, and it will still develop your credit, but it's secured against your own money. So that's a way to do it. Obviously, it's not I would rather, if that's only if you're not good with money or if you're new to the country, that's what they'll give you.
Wow, that's really good. So guys, like I told you, today's most time when I have the show, I'm always thinking, oh, we're gonna go above time, but at the end of the day, it's always most times I look up and I'm like, oh my god, we're almost done. So we have just 10 minutes to the end of the show, and before we wrap up the show, I wanted you to just throw a little light on how to make career switches. So some people have this career, they've had their what they call it, their mindset on that, okay, I'm going to do, let's say, I'm going to go into accounting, and they see that, oh, IT is something that I have a flair for and I want to switch careers. What are the tips and tricks you would tell someone who wants to switch careers in whatever level they are, whether in school or whether they're out of school?
So if they want to switch careers, is that what you're asking? Okay, so I personally switched careers. I was a business analyst before, and now I am working as a marketing manager, still within a bank, but completely the opposite ends of the bank. I would say the tips to switch careers, I don't know. I just did but it was again networking. Like that's really what I started to do. I started to meet people who were working in marketing, as I said earlier, and just tell them, learn from them, learn about what they do, see if it would actually interest me. And then I made that leap. But I honestly would not have been able to make the leap unless I started networking, because people literally were like, none of the job postings were ever posted. It was like someone telling me, hey, we have this role available. Are you interested? And then they hire, you know? So if you're looking to make a switch, see what you actually want to do. Don't go into another role that you're not going to like, hopefully. And then do your research, meet with people, and then start. If you need to retrain yourself, go back to school and retrain. But yeah, I think a lot of times you can get there through networking.
Yeah, and I think just for people that didn't follow you, I just wanted you to do like a tiny recap of something you put on your Instagram, I think last month, where you said before you quit your job, or what to watch out for when you know you're tired of your job. So I just wanted you to give a tiny recap for those that probably are not following you on Instagram.
Yeah, so let me open it. Actually, I have 5 things that I would say, 5 signs it's time to leave your job. And it's really like, in my old role, I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. So that's why I decided to leave my role. But the first thing would be you're no longer challenged by your work. So if you're going to work every day and it's so easy for you and you're not actually developing or no skills are being developed while you're there, it may be time to lose your job. I mean, to move on from your job. Some people are okay with that and they're like, they're okay with not being challenged at work. It's just a paycheck for them. But personally, for me, I like to be somewhere where I'm actually being challenged. And yeah, so that's just one thing. The second thing would be if you dread going into work every day. Like nobody likes to go into work and then you're miserable the whole day. So if that is you, you may consider starting to network with other people and trying to move out of that role because it probably is not fulfilling for you anymore. Next, the company is sinking and they're taking you down with it. So if you know that your company is going down, 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 and if you stay there, you will be going down as well. Time to look for a new job ASAP, 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 Naraki. And then if your responsibilities have increased, but your pay has not, that's another thing. So oftentimes especially with COVID, they like your employer may push more work on you slowly, slowly, slowly. And then when they do that, they're not increasing your pay. So in that situation, I would have a talk with your manager, see if they can pay you more. But if they say no, then they either have to take off the extra responsibilities or they have to, or you probably should leave that role. And then lastly, I would just say if there's no room for promotion in your role, maybe it's time to leave because most people want to be rewarded for their work and get promoted. But if there's no room in that company, you may have to find it elsewhere or in another department.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And I think that for a lot of people I think the reason why I wanted you to kind of reshare that is because I know a lot of people that have just been doing the same job for the past 10 years and they're not finding fulfillment. They're only thinking my kids are being fed, I'm paying my parents money. Like they just think of the basic stuff. And what Reni is trying to tell us is to renew our minds in whatever we're doing and where we are right now to make sure that we're not just relaxed. We're not just in that place of, you know what, I'm good, I'm okay. You have to make sure that it's just like the parable of the talents. To whom much is given, much is expected. The person that was given 5 talents was given 5 talents, right? I gave back 5 talents, and the extra one that the person that buried the one was given to the person with 5. And for years I thought about it and I'm like, why would the master give the person that had 5, 10 already, 1 extra one? And I thought about it that it was because it was fulfilled in the 5 that he was first given. So make sure you challenge yourself to not just be that same person you were last year, but be better. Like now in what they call it, in the tech space now, there's so many new things. I tell someone that even when it comes to live streaming and stuff, there's so many new, like, oh my God, there's so many new things you have to watch out for that if you're not careful, you'll be streaming the same way you've been streaming since 1998, right? And they're new things. So like she said, if you need to go back to school, go back to school. If you need to read books, begin to read books. Look at YouTube. YouTube is one place that you can learn 1,001 things. If you're not following Reni, so if you're not following Reni, make sure that you go to a YouTube channel and follow. I hope Canon does cameras that we can stream 1 hour with shutting up. Okay, we have a guest. We have a guest.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
So cute.
So yeah, so make sure that you're not just staying in that same place. You're not what they call that thing. You're not just a mountain that you're
stagnant. Yeah.
You're movable, right? So make sure you're moving. So before you go, I know we have just 3 minutes to the end of the show. Before you go, what will be your take home to everyone out there that's young, that wants to switch careers, that want to do better for themselves and are not too sure what to do? What will be your final words to someone like that?
Yeah, for someone like that, I would say the world is your oyster. There's literally no reason to stay where you are miserable. I am a testament to that. Just every time I am in a role and I'm not enjoying it, I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. So I would say don't be scared that you are not able to do another role. You're perfectly capable of doing whatever you set your mind to. You just have to start looking and move on to it and start networking. And watch my videos; they will help you as well.
That's it's very important. Yeah, where can they network? Because some people say that, Reni, you've just been saying network, network, network. Where somebody is out there, we're on lockdown. How can I network?
LinkedIn is honestly a great place to learn how to network with people. You can see their whole job title. So if I was looking for a marketing manager roles in BMO, I would search marketing manager BMO, and then all these people would pop up. And then you can find out where they're. You can just message them directly. Another way would be to get what's it called? A introduction. So if you went to someone you know and you can say, hey, do you know anyone who works in the marketing industry, for example? They will then they can connect you with someone, and then you can network with them that way. And lastly, just joining those professional associations. So like the Black Professionals in Tech, the Black Professionals Network, there are like Black Engineers Network. There's so many different networks that are around, and I think more people should be joining them because I've met so many people through these organizations. Hi.
Do you want to tell everybody what you've been saying? All right, guys. Thank you very much, Reni. Guys, I don't know how we would have ended this month, but I think we ended this month great. Reni has shared a lot, and more or less, she has been able to share from her personal experience. And I think it's very important. I think sometimes you just need to see someone that's doing it and let them share how they've been able to make better decisions and make more money. Like we always say, make sure that you support one another, share. Don't be the only Black person in the organization or the only African. Let that not be your joy. Let your joy be that you see your other brothers and sisters being in other levels. That organization, and I pray God helps us. Thank you very much, Reni, for joining us this week. We're so happy to have you, and thanks for sharing your own experience. And please, like I said, please follow her at xoreni on all social media platforms. Learn a lot from her learn a lot from her YouTube channel. She drops videos every week, so make sure that you do that. I'm just focusing on just her. Make sure that you do that. And yeah, till we see you next time, please don't forget to share this video, watch. I can see a lot of people that have already shared. Thank you very much. Till we see you next week, next month, which is March, we're going to be sharing and having different couples who'll be sharing how they met, their journey so far. And I know that it's going to be very interesting. So please make sure you join in and follow the page on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube channel. Till we see you next time. Bye, people. Bye.
Bye.